Ukraine suffered a comms outage when 1,300 SpaceX satellite units went offline over funding issues. This photograph taken on September 25 shows an antenna of the Starlink satellite-based broadband system donated by US tech billionaire Elon Musk in Izium, Kharkiv region amid the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Washington CNN. Ukraine fears that its troops may lose access to Elon Musk's crucial Starlink internet service deepened in the past week after 1,300 of the military's satellite units went offline, according to two sources familiar with the outage. The small, easy-to-use dishes made by Musk's private rocket company SpaceX have been universally hailed as the game-changing source of the communication for Ukraine's military, allowing it to fight and stay online even as the cellular phone and internet network have been destroyed in its war with Russia. But concerns have risen recently over the dependability of SpaceX after discussions about funding were revealed and outages were reported near the front lines. CNN first reported that SpaceX sent a letter in September to the Pentagon claiming it had spent almost $100 million funding Starlink in Ukraine and that it could no longer continue to do so. The letter requested that the Defense Department take over more than the funding for Ukraine's military, which it calculated would run tens of millions of dollars a month. Days after the CNN report, Musk appeared to reverse course, claiming that SpaceX had withdrawn the request. The hell with it, Musk tweeted. We will just keep funding Ukraine government for free. Negotiations between SpaceX and the Defense Department continue despite Musk's claim that SpaceX withdrew its request. According to a senior defense officer, negotiations are very much underway. Everyone in our building knows we are going to pay them, the senior Pentagon officer told CNN, adding that the department is eager to have a commitment in writing because we worry he will change his mind. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk provides an update on the development of the Starship spacecraft and the Super Heavy rocket at the company's launch facility in South Texas. On Wednesday, Musk attended the ceremony for U.S. Space Force, which also included Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Musk had also been embroiled in his high profile and controversial takeover of Twitter. Neither Musk nor South SpaceX responded to the request for comment. The Ukrainian government, including the Ministry of the Defense, did not immediately respond. The recent outage started on October 24th and was described by one person briefed on the situation as the huge problem for Ukraine's military. The terminals had been disconnected. This person said due to the lack of funding. That outage affected the block of 1,300 terminals that Ukraine purchased from the British company in March and were used for combat related to operations. SpaceX was charging Ukraine's military $2,500 a month to keep each of the 1,300 units connected, pushing the total cost to almost $20 million by September. The person briefed on the matter said, eventually they could no longer afford to pay, the person said. The British recast. Before the terminals went completely dark, Ukraine's military of defense made a request in early October to their British counterpart to pick up the $3.25 million monthly bill. The batch of terminals were also rotated out as concerns grew that service could be turned up in order to minimize the impact, the source said. The British official said that after discussions between the ministries, it was agreed there were higher priority military capabilities among many other channels of support. The UK had been flying thousands of Ukrainian troops to British for training before they head back to the front lines. We support a number of terminals that have a direct tactical utility for Ukraine's military in repelling Russia's invasion, the British officer told the CNN. We consider and prioritize prioritize all new requests in terms of the effect contributions would have been supporting Ukraine to defend its people against Putin's deplorable invasion. The senior Ukrainian official confirmed the outage, calling the Starlink unit very important for Ukraine's fight against Russia. The September letter from SpaceX to the Pentagon said there were almost 20,000 Starlink terminals in Ukraine. At that time, by SpaceX's own admission, the majority of them were fully or partially purchased with outside funding, including from the US policy and the UK government. The letter claimed those sources paid for about 30% of the monthly connectivity bill as well. The terminals, which include small satellite dishes, connect to SpaceX's constellation of satellites orbiting the Earth and not only keep troops and civilians online but have been used with little effect, proving critical for Ukraine's use of drones and artillery targeting. It's unclear exactly how many terminals Ukraine's military is operating, but the 1,300 that recently shut off represent a significant portion. In July, the country's commander in chief wrote to Musk directly asking for more. In a letter seen by CNN, saying approximately 4,000 have been deployed by the military. The woman rides the bicycle past a damaged building in the town of Kupiansk on November 3rd, 2022, Kharkiv region, amid the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Earlier this month, Musk said that all of the more than 25,000 terminals now in Ukraine, fewer than 11,000 were paying for the service, which can run as high as $4,500 per month. On Monday, a Pentagon spokesman declined to comment on potential contract or agreement, but said the talks are ongoing. We continue to discuss Ukraine's satellite communication needs with Ukraine and companies like SpaceX and others, Brigadier General Patrick Ryder told the reporters. Whether greater cooperation with SpaceX would give the US government stronger control over the Starlink signal in Ukraine has not been answered. Currently, SpaceX controls where Ukraine's Starlink terminals can be used, and shortages have previously been reported by Ukrainians unit near the front as they advanced and liberated Russian held areas. As a result, Musk's control of the signal gives him significant sway over the battlefield at a time when he has come under heavy criticism for arguing that Ukraine should sue for peace and give up for give up some of its territory.